I'm just messing around. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, 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 hey. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, 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 hey. Oh, let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Here we stand on holy ground. Let us make a joyful sound. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Everybody, get up on your feet. See the light in everybody you meet. Let us be reminded of who we've come to be. We are love, we are one big family. Hey, 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 hey.
You're on. Excellent. Hello, welcome. I'm glad that you are here with us today. Wonderful. It's love to see a nice audience here. My name is Amber Davidson. I am a prayer practitioner here. My pronouns are she, her. We're glad that you've decided to join us today, and we welcome all lifestyles and beliefs. No matter who you are welcome here. I want to acknowledge that this service is being held on the traditional and ancestral homelands of the Arapaho, Ute, and Cheyenne peoples. We recognize that this land is rightfully theirs, and we offer our respect and gratitude for their continuing kinship with this place. Our philosophy, Science of Mind, honors the wisdom and teachings found in all faiths. This teaching that says that we are all one and that love is all. Lonnie Hickman will be your prayer partner today. She will be over here after service to offer one-on-one prayer. Let's say our mission and vision together. Our mission: we are an inclusive community inspiring personal growth, spiritual practice, and a positive way of life. And our vision: to support humanity's spiritual growth, creating a world that works for all. Let's invite, do we have youth? Yay, youth up to the stage.
Here we go. Oh, God is everything there is, so I am part of God. I know there's lots of good for me and everybody else. I'm thankful and grateful for everything we have. So I let go of this prayer, and so it is.
Yay. Our outreach partner for July is Alianza Norco, a powerful local organization that advocates for and supports immigrants and Latinx communities here in Northern Colorado. They offer education, community organizing, and empowerment programs that align beautifully with our values of inclusivity, justice, and love in action We're proud to support their important work this month. Join us midweek for Recharge on Wednesday, July 24th at 6:30 p.m. We are gathering this month, and this gathering will be lovingly facilitated by Lonnie Hickman, our wonderful practitioner. Come experience a peaceful evening of meditation, ritual, and spiritual connection. It is the perfect midweek pause to renew your heart and mind. Join us for a refreshing afternoon at Pelican Lakes in Windsor on Saturday, August 2nd. This is our youth and family swim day. Bring your swimsuit, your sunscreen, and something to lounge on. We'll enjoy the sand, the sun, and some water together. It's a perfect summer outing for all ages. Come splash and connect. And One Sweet Summer Concert. Join us for a fun evening at One Sweet Summer Concert on Wednesday, August 13th from 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. at the Foundry Plaza in Loveland. I will be there. We'll meet at the bandstand at 5:30. I will be waving. I might be wearing this top so you can't miss me. Anyway, enjoy live music from Wendy Wu and Girl Crush. Yeah. Bring a picnic or grab dinner downtown and settle in for a great night of connection and community. Let's go boogie. To register for any of these amazing events and opportunities or to learn more, be sure to sign up for our weekly e-newsletter. And there's a lot of exciting stuff coming, so you really want to know about it, and that's all I can say. It's the best way to stay up to date with all of the latest happenings. Subscribe today at cslnoco.org. All right, if you would like, if you feel comfortable, please close your eyes. And as we inhale, just silently say to yourself, centered in love, I choose peace. And as you breathe out, again, centered in love, I choose peace. And just continue to inhale and exhale deeply, quietly, and repeat the words, centered in love, I choose peace. And then listen for our singing bowl to just vibrate within you. Spirit is here. No matter where we are, Spirit is with us. And we just take this moment to remember that. Just take this moment to be present in that knowledge, to recognize that Spirit, the source of everything, is present. The source of all good that pours into all of our lives is present. And we are all present. And we are all the picture of Spirit in action. We are the representation of Spirit in the world. And I know through this powerful connection that we all share with each other and with the source of all good, that the music, the message, that it is all a source of service to that beautiful idea of unity, to that idea and knowledge of our oneness with each other and our oneness with the divine. And I am grateful for that oneness, grateful for that feeling grateful for the creative power, grateful for it all. And knowing that this is so in all of our lives, I just release these words, knowing that it is already so, and invite you to join me in saying, and so it is.
Ain't no wall can divide us, no matter how high. Ain't no storm can untie us, for all it may try. We're all leaves on the same tree, under one sky. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. We belong to each other. We are sister and brother, born to love one another. It's whispered by the wind to all living things. It's in every sunrise. It's what the wild birds sing. It shines in newborns' eyes, faces lined and worn. It's the tide that binds us, and it won't be torn. Oh, we belong to each other. We are sister and brother, born to love one another. We are ancient stars, turned flesh and bone. We're all travelers on a bus ride home. Yeah, we laugh and we cry, we rise and we fall. Yeah, we fuss and we fight, but through it all, yeah, we belong to each other. We are sister and brother, are born to love one another. We belong to each other. We are sister and brother, born to love one another. We're all leaves on the same tree, waves on the same sea. You and me, we belong to each other.
That's beautiful. So tonight we are honored to have returning Dr. Michelle Medrano. Yes, wonderful. Dr. Michelle has had a remarkable ministry journey, beginning with her ministerial degree from Mile High School of Ministry in 1991. She served as assistant minister in Huntington Beach, then as senior minister at New Vision Center for 17 years. In 2013, she returned to Mile High Church, where she now serves as co-lead minister alongside Reverend Josh Reeves. Please join me in warmly welcoming Reverend Dr. Michelle Medrano.
So great to be here again. I love coming here with you all, and seeing all these wonderful familiar faces and having a chance to celebrate spiritual community. So thank you for that warm welcome. I am excited in this message tonight to talk about oneness. 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 My deep voice, Ken, did you like that? Yeah, it's good. We talk a lot about oneness in our teaching in these New Thought teachings, as do many faith traditions. We're not the only ones. And so my question, as you can see from the title of my message, is oneness real? We talk a lot about it. We theorize a lot about it. We search for it. It might be a concept that feels really wonderful to us. We might perceive the world through the eyes of oneness and make many attempts to experience oneness. And I think that's the key thing, is that we can't just talk about a concept like this. We've got to find some way to experience it. And so when we teach people about science of mind and spirit, we believe and teach that the notion of oneness versus duality is a cornerstone of our teaching. What that means is that we believe that the infinite divine presence that has created this universe had nothing but itself to create out of. So everything that exists is an expression of it. There can't be anything else. So we're connected to the all that is, and that everything we see, everything that's experienced is made of the same stuff, only expressing itself in different forms and fashions. Everything from these things that are solid to the things that are more ethereal, gases, oxygen, that sort of thing, to you, to me, all of us. We believe that we're made of that same stuff. Now, mystics throughout the ages have been theorizing this because of their own inner experience. And it is in recent years that we've come to understand scientifically a little bit more about it. I would love tonight an outcome of my unhidden agenda tonight is to convince us all of the oneness of creation more powerfully than ever before, and of our oneness, of our connectedness to that. Because upon feeling and sensing and embodying that awareness, that cornerstone, if you will, of our teaching, I believe that our life individually as we go through this world, which even that's somewhat of an illusion in the concept of oneness, right? That our life, each one of us, is greatly enhanced, and that our life together is greatly enhanced. Now, our founder, Ernest Holmes, spoke much about this cornerstone of our teaching, calling us back to our wholeness and to the truth of who we are. And my husband, Ken, and I have a spiritual practice we do each morning. And right now, it consists of reading The Science of Mind, which is commonly called the textbook of Ernest Holmes. And many of you probably know that there were two versions of the textbook. The original one Ernest Holmes wrote was in 1926. Years later, our teaching was founded in 1927, and incorporated in 1927 in Los Angeles. Years later, he, along with an editor, edited The Science of Mind, and the 1938 edition was born. That edition is most commonly used in classes. It's sold in bookstores, out in Barnes and Nobles, and in bookstores in our New Thought communities all over the world. And it's the most used version. However, I really love the 1926 version. Some of you are nodding your head. You do too, right? Yeah. There's something about his perceptions, his laying out his theories that feels different for me than the 1926 edition. I think the same is true for Ken. And so we've been enjoying including this version in our weekly reading, our morning readings. And we came across a passage that I want to weave through my message today from that 1926 version. So the first part of it I want to start with is, he says, "It is well to remember that the enlightened in every age have taught that back of all things there is one unseen cause. In studying the teachings of the great thinkers, we find that a common thread runs through all, the thread of unity. There is I love this phrase. There is no record of any deep thinker of any age who taught duality. Yeah. He's really admonishing all of us, and especially the thinkers throughout the ages, to say, hey, look, anybody who is teaching and preaching peace, wholeness, love, cannot do that through the teaching of duality. I know for me, as a little child, when I was 6 years old, I was born in Salida, Colorado, and I lived there until I was 6 years old. Actually, it was before I was 6, because I must have been about 4 or 5 years old. I had a little friend named Ginger who lived across the alley from me, and she started telling me, my family were not church-going folk, but she started telling me about this thing called Sunday school, where she was going every Sunday. And I said, well, I want to go. So I went and I asked my parents, can I go with Ginger to Sunday school? And she said yes. And I was a little child who, I'd had some very interesting spiritual experiences, let's just say. I was pretty naturally caught up, of course, growing up in Colorado, there's beauty everywhere. I was caught up in the beauty of nature. I was caught up in my own deep intuitive sense of the universe. And when I heard that there was this thing called church, where they talk about God and they'll teach me more about it, I thought, wow, I want to go there. So I convinced my parents, they sent me off with Ginger, and I went to this very cute little quaint Christian church, and I had a wonderful time in community. And I will also say that as a small child, my first moment of disillusionment was that my own heart, as I suspect many of yours felt and feel, was that God, at the very least, the way I could articulate it then, loved everyone. That there was no one in the universe that God would not love. Because there was some intuitive knowing for me, well, God created all this. Why would God create all of it and then say, well, I hate that part, and I don't like them, and I don't approve of them, and that just, even as a little child, that didn't make sense to me. And they started to articulate this message of God's love, and I'm like, oh yeah, yes. And then the disillusion moment came when I was told, God loves all of creation, but those people over there are sinners. Well, that was kind of it for me in church at that point. I was pretty disillusioned. I thought, I can't do this. So I stayed for the community aspect of it, but I just knew something was off, that there was no way that that which created the universe could disconnect from or disapprove of parts of its creation. And so as I grew older, I think that I saw this reality showing itself over and over again, and I think that's what Holmes is talking about. No great thinker throughout the age ever taught duality. That duality, the notion that there are some people who are good with God and are in the midst of this oneness, and some people who are out, is a part of humans' need to control and to approve and disapprove and to allow their fears to win out. That duality will never solve the challenges and problems of this earth. It will only happen through oneness. So to look at oneness and prove and deepen into oneness, I went on a search. I went on a personal search, as I suspect many of you have. And in that search, finding this teaching when I was 15 years old, just a couple years ago, right? Finding this teaching so early on in my life propelled me into even deeper spiritual practice and even deeper study and even deeper sense of I remember the first time I walked into Mile High Church as a teenager, and I sat down with my mother, and the service started, and the music was playing, and the minister got up and started to speak. I remember turning to my mother, and I said, I'm home. I'm home. This is where I belong. And she felt the same, only I kind of did it on steroids. I volunteered and I showed up and I did everything that you could do. I couldn't even drive at that point, and I had to get her to take me to church. And as soon as I could drive, my friends made fun of me because the place I wanted to go was, I can drive to church now. And I went back for Wednesday night service. And I was so happy and thrilled. And I admit that for a long time, even though I had that intuitive sense, that notion of oneness and connectedness was just an intellectual concept. Every once in a while, I'd get a taste of it as I went skiing and was up on top of a mountain going, or I would see the fall colors of Colorado, or would witness some beautiful action between human beings, or hear a message from a minister that would just really uplift me. And it wasn't until later on in my life, after I became a practitioner and then continued on in ministerial studies, that I had some significant experiences. I studied the mystics. I wanted to know, what was it that led them into this oneness, and what were the benefits of it? I knew I wanted to experience it at a deep, profound level, but I couldn't quite figure out the pathway. Every mystic that I studied claimed different pathways, some through great austerity. Some of them would lock, as you might have heard the stories. We just did a mystics class at Mile High Church. The women ministers did a class on women mystics. And I was shocked that some of these women mystics would like lock themselves in a little teeny room for years and years and get served meals on a tray underneath the door so that they could find their oneness. They were on a passionate search for God, so passionate that they would remove themselves from everyday life to cultivate the experience of oneness. I'm kind of a social being. That really was not my path. I wasn't interested in that pathway. It wasn't going to work for me. Others spent a lot of time in prayer or took substances that would lead them into a sense of oneness. None of that really appealed to me because it kind of felt like it was a false experience. Is it just my chemistry firing off if I take ayahuasca in the jungle and have some shamanic journey? I want to have an organic experience of oneness through my own inner work, through my own inner surrender. That's what I was yearning for. And eventually, guess what? It happened. And I want to speak to it, though I can honestly say, I don't think words are adequate. And any of you have had an experience like that of oneness, no matter how you came by it, because I certainly don't have any judgment if you've used any of those substances or experienced it in some way, but I can kind of point to it, and I have some words to describe it, and it's changed me forever. The most significant one, there have been about a couple of them, have included a very interesting sense of, on the one hand, a loss or a diminishment of my personality that is me, Michelle Medrano, yet at the same time, somewhat of an enhancement of that, while feeling connected to everything and everyone. And I remember in those experiences that have happened a few times so profoundly, the biggest word I would use is peace. I felt a peace that I hadn't felt just walking around every day, having interactions and looking at what's going on in the world. And what was also significant for me about that is coming back out of the experience and back into the full body of this life, the now moment, while I'm not in that kind of distant state of ooziness, if I want to call it that peace continued with me. Every time I've experienced that oneness, It's made me more patient with human beings. It's made me less afraid of what's next when my time comes to step off the earth plane. It's caused me to have a confidence that there is more beyond this life. And it's given me a groundedness. And I remember some of my words in one of those experiences was, oh, this is what they've been talking about. This is what they've been talking about. Oh my gosh. And stepping out of it, profound sense of connectedness. I would wish this on every human being. I don't know, I can't say, I suspect that Jesus and many other master teachers might have had the capacity to walk the earth and be in that experience of oneness while also having a human experience. That would be the ideal, I think. We talk about oneness and diversity in our teaching. We yearn for and seek out that connectedness while also celebrating, honoring, and claiming our unique self. And I think what challenges most human beings is that we find ourselves in the polarities of that. We're either struggling with our personality and our experiences that we've had that we want to heal, or we're off over here in the ozone. And we think that, and you can see this by the life of other mystics and people who go off to the Himalayas and they become gurus and they disconnect from the world. And while there's nothing wrong with that, I personally would prefer to have that feeling of connectedness and oneness while also walking through my life, from being married to my beautiful husband and having my friends and being in community and working together to create peace and wholeness on this planet. That, to me, I don't have a desire to withdraw from the world because it's too horrible and painful, and I just want to be off contemplating my oneness in a cave somewhere. You know, what would be the fun in that? I couldn't go to the theater, and I couldn't, all the fun things I love to do. Couldn't come here and be here in Fort Collins with you all. So I know that for me, that's not what I choose. And I know that I also don't want to be completely ensconced in the craziness of being a human being with the challenges and the things that happen, that if I'm in that centered place, it feels like the whole trajectory of who I am benefits. But how do I do that? How do I get there? I think when we get there, before I say how do we get there, I want to say the benefits really are a deep sense of connection. That's what I felt, that peace that I felt, and that I think anyone who's had a truly overwhelming experience of oneness is a connectedness to the universe, to the Creator, and to all beings everywhere. And I've had a little of that all my life. In Salida, Colorado, my mother would tell me, and my son now would tell you, that one of his perceived senses of one of my faults is that I will talk to anyone. And I would even as a child. My mother would say, I'm leaving you here, do not speak to strangers. And she would come back and I'd have people gathered around the car, giving them my phone number, telling them where I lived. And she would say, honey, I told you not to talk to strangers. And I would say, well, they weren't strange to me, Mommy, because they weren't. I could sense, who should I talk to? Who should I not talk to? And so I have felt that sense of connectedness. That's how I want to live my life. It means that every being is my family, is my kin, is a part of my heart. Yeah, even the ones I think should be different than they are. Don't get to not include them in oneness. Don't get to, that's duality. And so that's a benefit, is feeling that connectedness. Holmes does say, if I go on to read a little bit more of the 1926 edition, This is a little bit more of a longer reading than I would usually put in a talk, but I'm going to do it because I think it was so significant. One of the great teachings of Moses was, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord." And the saying, "I am that I am," was old when Moses was yet unborn. We often think, hey, Moses got that from God up there on the mountain and in the Ten Commandments when he was given the commandments. And Holmes is right. That was before Moses' time. I am that I am. It had been inscribed over never showed up. We may go back much further than Moses and find the same teaching, for it crops out of the literature and sayings of the wise of all ages. And Jesus taught this when he said, "I and the Father are one," and saying, "The Father that dwelleth in me." This teaching of unity is a cornerstone of the sacred scriptures of the East as well as of our own sacred writings. It is today the mainspring of divine science and unity teachings, the New Thought movement, the occult teachings, the esoteric or inner teachings, and even much that is taught under the name of psychology. Without this basic teaching of unity, these movements would have but little to offer. Science has found nothing to contradict this teaching, and it never will, for the teaching is self-evident. So this is what Holmes latched onto, a teaching of oneness, along with all these theories. And I think he's right. Science has not found anything to contradict this. Now, I will admit I have some colleagues and friends who are much more scientific than I am, and my husband himself is a geek. He's a science geek, for sure. I'm not a science geek, but he taught me very well, and I did some research. Because when I said to you today, can I prove to you that oneness exists? It's all well and good to go into spiritual experiences like this in community and hear ministers and preachers talk about it and go, oh, yeah, that's a oneness experience. And we can go, yeah, I know that. I've experienced that, and I'm sure many of you have. Part of, I think, what helps us to get to that experience is to understand that science has definitely proved our oneness. In my mind, there's no doubt about it. In fact, in some of the research that I did, and Ken and I talked a lot about this, scientists who have really studied this and put this together in physics and all sorts of different modalities of science would say to us that what Ernest Holmes says about how God didn't have anything in the universe to create out of but itself, so therefore everything is created out of it. And Ken tells me that it's called the original singularity by some scientists. I like that. The original singularity. There's a single energy in the universe, and everything emerged out of it. Scientists are acknowledging this and saying, yeah, everything is energy. Everything is energy. And at the core of everything are cells and molecules, and it's all made up of that same stuff. No matter how you break it down, they're saying, if there is a God, that's it. And then there's another theory that has been discovered in recent years that I'm sure many of you heard of. It's quantum entanglement. At the quantum level. It's the ability to take cells who are here and have them be in a completely different location and know that even though you separated them, they have the same experience. That always reminds me of like twins who are separated at birth. Aren't those stories fascinating? The twins are separated, identical twins, separated at birth, reunited years later, only to discover that they married women who looked very like each other, who had the same name. They both married women named Barb. They both named their dog Rover. And they were all firemen, you know. You can find countless stories of these on the internet. Quantum entanglement is one of the most striking examples of interconnectedness that we hear about in physics. When two or more particles become entangled, They remain connected in such a way that the state of one instantaneously influences this. Einstein famously called this spooky action at a distance. I like that. This phenomenon defies classical notions of locality and strongly suggests a fundamental non-local connection throughout the universe. So think about it this way. When we come here to the spiritual community, I suggest we experience quantum entanglement. Every person that you talk to, every person you hug, every person you look at, there's a connection that takes place at an energetic and intuitive level. We're not non-local. You and I, from this moment on, will carry each other in our quantum field forever and ever. And we may go our separate ways. Ken and I will drive back to Denver tonight. But what happens to you lives in that field. And what happens to me is in that field. We are forever connected. And when we start to think like that and realize that that's what's going on, because we understand how we are connected to everyone in our life, connected to everyone on this planet. And it's an understanding that no matter how alone you may think you are at times, you're never alone. Never. You carry with you the energy, the essence, the connectedness. You are entangled with every being you've ever encountered. And some of that entanglement is probably awesome, and some of it's a little bit challenging. And some might say that about you or me too. I got entangled with that Michelle Monroe. Oh my gosh, that was a big challenge, right? Some might say that. But we are connected, and that means, see, I don't think that the work we do on ourselves in this, if we want to understand the impact that we are having on the human experience, all we have to do is understand that we're one with everything and everyone. It's an illusion for any of us to think that we're powerless, that we have no contribution. When people want to say to us, or those phrases that come out that say, you matter, oneness makes it so. You matter. I matter. What you think matters. What you do matters. What you say matters. What you give attention and intention to, it matters. Not only in your life, that's a whole life. Tonight I'm talking about that experience of like the rock going into the water and having a ripple effect. What are your ripples? Are your ripples throughout your day? Or are your ripples makes a difference? And it also then becomes a huge part of the motivation of why it matters for us to heal our psyche and heal our hearts and work on forgiving ourselves and other people and getting healed of the toxicity from our past and all of that, because the more we do that, the more the ripples that we make on planet Earth make a difference. If you're concerned about what's going on in the world from any perspective, about war, about the environment and the ecology, about politics, about leadership, great intellectual conversations about those things. But oneness says, doesn't matter as much about what you're saying, but who are you being at the core? Are you being an energy of possibility and solutions, even if you don't know what they are? Or are you being a being that is contributing to the ripples of negativity? And because we're all one, it matters. You matter. I matter. We matter. It matters. It makes a difference. And for us to realize this, so how can we cultivate it? These are the last things I want to say. We cultivate it, of course, by spiritual practice. We cultivate it by dedicating ourselves to consciously leading ourselves into that inner place of the Most High every single day and affirming our oneness and connectedness with all of creation. It makes a difference. Every study out there says it will make us happier and more grounded, so I won't go on and belabor that because I'm sure Reverend Leah and all the practitioners here teach that on a regular basis, and you've all heard that before. It's very important. Practice, spiritual practice, so that when the moment comes that there's a surrender of your own heart, psyche into the oneness, you're ready for it. You gladly go. No resistance whatsoever. Because you've been there so many times. I often talk about spiritual practice is like if there's a big cornfield or a big field of weeds that we had to make a path through, and we took our machete and we went through and we created a path for ourselves so that we could get from here to there and experience something. Spiritual practice every day is creating the path for ourselves, making the way for ourselves, so that when something comes up that really matters, your path is there. You don't have to forge the path. You know the path, and you go gladly. That's what it does for us. The next one is to challenge all of our patterns of duality. Those people over there, they do this, they do that. To challenge every time we are tempted to go there. I was listening to a book recently by Paul Selig, and he said something that just caused me to stop in my tracks. And I'll probably be repeating this to any group that I get a chance to speak to for months now. He said, here's the thing. We forget that when we choose not to extend divine agape spiritual love to any being, it's like we put them out on an island of separation and duality. But because of oneness, who else gets to be put on that island? We do. We live on that island. We don't get to practice oneness and then push people off the island. It doesn't work like that. Every time we push someone off the island, we go too. So we don't have to like everybody. We don't have to agree with everybody. We don't have to even be friends and have people in our lives. We can have boundaries. But at the core of having a boundary has to be love. I love and honor you, and I don't agree with you. Versus, you're a jerk, and I hate you, and I can't. That island, we're there with them. And we can't experience oneness when we place ourselves or anyone on that island of duality, of disconnect. And the last one that I will offer is one that we teach, and maybe some of you have had this in the Beyond Limits class. When we teach about oneness the first time to brand new students, we have a practice that we call Deeply We Are One. And in the class, we invite people to get up and walk around and look each other in the eye and say, deeply we are one. And they gladly do that in their church. But then we say, this week when you go out, if you're tempted to put someone on that island, take a deep breath. Deeply we are one. We will not solve the problems we face through duality. It's not possible. Are we going to be some of the people who continue to cultivate connection and compassion and oneness? And if so, make ripples that allow for solutions fraught with love and joy and peace to emerge in our collective experience. When we know better, we'll do better. So I hope that we will all go forth and cultivate our oneness even more fervently than before. I invite you to pray with me, and indeed to proclaim right now that sense of connectedness that we are and are in around our divine presence, the divine one that connects us to all, in all, through all. And we feel when we contemplate God, source, the infinite intelligence. I invite us to feel and to sense and to claim. Deeply, we are one. And I invite us now to have an image of ourselves, our physical reflection, our heartful reflection, our emotional reflection, seeing the pathway of our life behind us, all that we've been and done and experienced, and to bow to ourselves in the mirror. Deeply, we are one. I'm one with every version of myself. I'm one with every decision I have made. I'm one with everything I've done and been. Whole now moment, deeply aware of my connectedness to the divine, accepting and affirming that I claim all of myself in the oneness that I am. And I invite us to allow to come to mind some being that we love or admire greatly, maybe a mentor or a teacher or a friend or a child who's so wise. And as we bring their image forward, we bow to them. Deeply, we are one. And we feel the oneness and the connectedness. And now we bring forth an image of someone whom we find disturbing, someone in our personal life or in public life, or someone we're still working to forgive and let go of, we find challenging. And as we see their image come into our conscious awareness now, we bow to them and we say to ourselves and to them, deeply, we are one. And I affirm and accept that as we go forth from this place, this day, that our oneness is highlighted and brought forth more powerfully, that we see signs of it, we see indications of it, and that we are motivated, each one of us, to call it forth into our experience and into our expression, that we are connected. And we choose consciously to make ripples in life of love and peace and joy and solution and wholeness in our life and on this planet. And I'm so grateful for each person who is this, does this, and expresses this. It is with great joy that I say thank you, life, as I release this prayer now into the action of that universal law. I simply let it go. I let it be. It is done, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you.
I hope you'll join me on this one. Real simple chorus. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. One more time. Only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There is only one holy substance flowing in and throughout. You are an expression of it. You are a beloved expression of love's perfection. So raise your hands and celebrate, because you know there's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. And that life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. God's life, one life. It's God's life, the one life. It's my life. That life is my life. That life is my life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now. Again, there's only one life. Perfect. That life is my life now. There's only one life. That life is God's life. That life is perfect. That life is my life now.
Thank you. That was awesome. I remember saying that when I first came to my first Science of Mind church and started taking classes and things, and I just love those 4 statements. They really say what it is. Thanks for bringing it back. And Michelle, thank you for an absolutely wonderful, inspiring message tonight. I'm Lonnie Hickman. I'm a practitioner for the evening, and I'm going to be pinch hitting for Amber now for the end of the service. So it is time for us to move into our consciousness of offering and a consciousness of abundance. So I invite you to join me now and just going into a place within of gratitude and recognition of God as source. Because as we give our gifts, we give from that knowing that God is our source, unlimited, no restrictions. So I invite you just to join me in that consciousness of gratitude and knowing. So please take your gift, hold it over your heart, or if you give in another format, just hold your givingness in your heart. And we'll say together our offering affirmation. Money is God's love and expression. Since it is never withheld from me, I choose to give freely of all that comes to me from the one infinite source. And so it is.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. Now I can say if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, just gotta let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. Sing it, I release
So it is my privilege now to bless this offering, knowing that this is given from the heart, it is given in love, and it is given to express love in and through this spiritual community. I am grateful for all the good that moves out through this wonderful center of spiritual living to bless, to heal, to establish and affirm oneness in our world. And so it is. I got to go back to the script because, like I said, I'm pinch hitting here. Okay, if you are here for the first time, welcome. We're so glad you're here. And if you're with us here or if you're online for the first time, we're so glad that you decided to become part of our spiritual family today. Want everyone to know that in this community you matter. As Michelle said, we all matter, and that CSL NOCO is here to support you. After the service, I'll be available for prayer, for individual prayers over by the windows. And if you would prefer, there is a prayer request box at the table at the back. Or if you are watching and participating online and would like to submit a prayer request, just go to cslnoco.org and fill out the prayer request forms, and we will be praying with you all this week. And just thank you all for being here today. It's always so good to come together in community and to share this time of connection with each other. That's why we're here. A heartfelt thanks to everyone who has worked to make this service possible. We have an amazing group of volunteers, and deep gratitude to everyone who's part of the team. So now I would invite you all to join in Sunday supper. Today that we will be heading out after the service to a local restaurant. And so if you're interested in joining the group for dinner, meet at the welcome table at the back after the service, and you will be, the restaurant will be revealed. Now, please stand if you're willing, and if you desire, and join me in speaking our benediction, and we will have a closing song. Together, may we be at peace. May our hearts remain open. May we awaken to the light of our own true nature. May we be healed. May we be a source of healing for all beings. And so it is. Love is who I am. Love is who we are. And love is all there is.
For years I would talk about how for someone